I met a gypsy.
The rivalry between you and Kenny is so deep. Like, even fully off the racetrack. Like, I remember being at Fox one day. It was at Fox with like Kenny and Beaks when Beaks was at Fox, and you called Beaks when I was there with Kenny, and then you could see Beaks was like, I'm just gonna answer, and it was just like you guys were like both on Fox. You were both like coming, trying to win the same championships. Like, the racing was gnarly. You were both like superstars in your own right, and like crowd favorites in your own right. Like, that's such a long-standing rivalry. It just goes so deep. Like, even the people around you guys were like cognizant of the rivalry.
Oh yeah, 100%. And everyone stays in the sport in another way or another. It kind of floats around. Like, Beaks is always doing different stuff, but yeah, we just both wanted to win so bad. So it was it was just so intense, and it's still the same now, but it's just we're a little more grown up. We're a little older. We have kids, but still same thing. We just want to win, and the intensity is probably even higher than ever.
Yeah, dude, it would be for sure, man. And it is weird. Like, we kind of talked about at the start, but like, you guys just don't talk that much. And it's like, imagine, to just put this in real person context, it's analogous to working in a place for 30 years and never talking to the coworker that sits right next to you. Like, imagine you're like Homer Simpson and you're working in the nuclear power plant, and you're like sitting there pushing and pulling the buttons, and the dude next to you, you've worked with him for 30 years and you just don't really talk to him. You know his name, you like hear about shit that he says about you, and like you just don't talk. It's pretty much what you guys do. It's fucking weird.
No, that's what I was going to say. It's quite a shame, really, because I think a lot of us could be friends, but it's just the way this sport is, and it's been, and how we like came up to the sport, that it just was like, this is what you do and this is the way it is. And yeah, I think a lot of us, like, we are like people, we don't really know each other that much. We just race each other. So like I said, it's quite a shame, because I think a lot of us have a lot of things in common besides riding motorcycles. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame, but for me, I try to be a little more open nowadays, but yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, but I think no matter what, when everybody retires, then there's a point where, like, I remember like when Chad did the podcast back in like 2018, he still had never spoke to James, and I'm on the podcast and I'm like, dude, you guys would be friends. Like, I've hung out with both of you. Like, I played golf with James. You love golf. Like, you've both raced together. You spent, because there's this thing of like relatability, right? Like, me and you, we're into the same stuff. We talk. We can be cool. But like, I can't relate to you on some shit. Like there's just stuff that you've done, things that you've seen, battles that you've been in, like in the level of intensity. Like, there's just a whole aspect of your life that I just you could only ever tell me about it. I could never embody it in that way. Whereas like all of the guys that you race against, there's probably 8 of you on the planet that right now are like in the battle to win and podium 450 main events. So it's like, you've only got this such a small crew of people that could actually like really understand like what you're going through and the pressure and all that sort of stuff. And then it's just like you're not talking that often. But I think once you guys retire, then it's just like that relatability. Like, dude, remember how it used to feel when it was like this? Or do you remember this? Like, you kind of, I feel like at some point you will crave to kind of know what they were going through in the same moment that you were, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense completely. I think, one day for sure we'll be able to be like, hey, what did you think about that? Or yeah, definitely. It'll be cool, because right now it's not that way. So it'll be cool to be like, yeah, like, how about, you remember that race? Or yeah, that'll be cool. And it's nice that we'll be able, I do agree. I think we'll be able to do that more, and we'll see each other and just kind of feed off each other. Because I hear like, a lot of guys retire and they miss the sport. Like, you had Dunge, he came back and raced the season, and like, I think you just miss that competitiveness. But for me, I think I will definitely miss the sport, but I'll do some crazy stuff with motorcycles and bicycles, so it should hopefully keep me somewhat sane.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, it's just one of those things that, you know, it's like a time thing, you know, like once the time passes. But I feel like it's kind of getting better a little bit, and you know, you can see some guys kind of like a little bit more social, you know, than others. I feel like too, there's probably a point as well where a lot of it stems from just childhood, where there's a point where, like, let's say you're on a 65 or an 85, it's kind of like your parents dealing with the problems that get created. So there's probably a lot of stuff that goes on that just kind of like spews over from amateurs, where it's also not just like you guys racing, but it's like the families have had these run-ins, or like the families end up doing the talking, not you guys, because you're just too little. But it's like the racing's the same thing.
Yeah, no, the racing is the same thing. And yeah, it's even like, I think, you know, a lot of us grow up at these training facilities now and stuff too. And like being at MTF, it was kind of like we're like one big kind of family, and we just like kind of, it's like, you know, doing the shit talking and stuff, and you like just like shit talk about these other riders that you're gonna go race and stuff like that. So you just like don't, like, you're like, whatever, like I hate these guys, like I'm gonna smoke them, like all this stuff. So it just like, yeah, it starts when you're young, and you just are, it's the competitiveness, it's wild. Yeah, it definitely goes back to the root stuff for sure, like day one. And we've all been racing each other forever, and it's crazy now to be in this position. Like for instance, you're right, it is changing. Like, you know, me and Eli's pretty quiet guy, keeps to himself, kind of say hey or whatever, but nothing really more than that. And this year at Anaheim, we were both in the tunnel, and he started talking to me, and I was like, whoa, like he's like asking me like, it's cool to be a dad, right? Like all this stuff. And I was like, I was stoked on it, because I was like, you know, I you know, you go up to him like, hey, what's up, man? And you kind of just like, hey, and then, you know, does this thing. But we actually had a conversation. We haven't had a conversation since we were probably like 16, like literally no jokes. It's probably been like 15 years. So it was cool to see us, you know, the times are changing a little bit. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, I think it just sets up some cool stuff in the future for you guys. I think, you know, like everyone be like a 10-year high school reunion. Guys that you like didn't talk to guys you didn't talk to at school, and then you were like, how you going, man? Like, I know we had our shit, but you doing good? And then you like find out you both like the same fucking football team or something.
For sure.
Your kids end up playing soccer together.
Oh, I'm sure that will happen. Yeah, like it'll probably end up racing each other again, and then we'll have to like see each other at the track again every weekend for another 30 years. Like, it's crazy. Who knows? Amber's gonna listen to this and go, "Oh my god, no, we're not going to track 15 years."
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, GYPSYTales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.